going to Great Britain.
It's been over a decade since I became online friends with the man that I have introduced to you in the past as UK Harry. This is the man who offers me a little encouragement, motivation by giving me the 2,000 push-ups challenge every year. And he has been a good pen pal over the years. We've kept in touch. And he is very regularly cheering me on as I try to get in better shape. Now, knowing that the United Kingdom is a country that I have wanted to visit for decades of my life, he has for the past several years offered every year to put me up if I can get there. And every year I have to say, Harry, I still can't even afford the plane ticket. I just don't have that kind of income, that kind of job. Now, through circumstances that are probably private, I won't go into it, he managed to save up enough to offer to pay my way there.
I don't think there was a precise moment that I became fascinated with Great Britain, but I spent my younger years, and especially my teenage years, becoming acquainted with British television like Monty Python's Flying Circus and British films, and I loved the accents. I loved the buildings I saw. I loved just so much about it that over time I knew this was the one foreign country that I really wanted to visit, and it's finally happening, and I plan to document it, as thoroughly as possible.
In July of 2022, I acquired my passport, and on the evening of Sunday, August 14th, I got all packed, attached the World Traveler luggage tag that my wife got me, and headed to the Portland International Airport in the early hours of Monday, August 15th. I had a 9-hour layover in Denver, Colorado. For some of that, I did some reading, I did some napping, but I did find a little bit of time to get some push-ups done. At the time, I was still attempting to complete Harry's 2022 push-ups challenge. And then as passengers started to filter in for the flight that would take us all to Heathrow, I did observe this guy, and normally I don't stalk people with my video camera, but as someone who's interested in fitness, this was an impressive display. I did find a way to actually, while we were in line getting onto the plane, I did maneuver. This sounds creepy as I say it out loud. I did manage to end up near him, and we talked a little bit. Turns out he is from Great Britain and heading home. He had a great accent. It was strong. I could only understand half the words. He was probably from somewhere up north. But turns out he's a power lifter, a competitive power lifter. So that was a little boost to the start of the trip, and I apologize if that sounds like I am just some kind of
Okay, the flight from Portland to Denver was just a warm-up. Now I'm really going to Great Britain.
For the first 72 hours that I was there, I suffered from jet lag, and I got it pretty bad. Now, the most I've ever traveled before that was a difference of 3 time zones, and this was a difference of 7 time zones. I was sitting yeah, I got off the plane in Great Britain, and I was making my way through the terminal and getting the transport to the rental car. I was doing all of that in broad daylight when my body was saying, you should be asleep. And then the sun went down, and I was saying to myself, you should be asleep. But my body was wide awake. And so it was this inverted thing for the first 2 full days and a half. Even with that feeling, I was still excited because I was here in Great Britain, and it was just fascinating to look at. I mean, I picked up the rental car, first time I've ever driven on the left side of the road, and the rental car driveway takes you right out onto the highway, the M40 or whatever's right there. And so I made it, I lived, but I quickly found a neighborhood to pull off in. So I pulled off into the Acton Ealing neighborhood, what they would consider ordinary houses, and I just looked at it and went, this is so British. I'm loving this. I'm sitting there in the car going, I wish I could sleep, but look at those buildings. I did, however, persist for a little while in trying to get some exercise done. I think I have some footage of me doing some push-ups at a train station in Slough. On the evening of the 19th, I headed north into Wales, and by just before midnight, I think, I arrived at Harry's house in Llanrhystr, Wales. And he can correct me if I got that wrong, but I did try. I spent about 8 days there, over a little over a week, with Harry as my host. So this coastal town of Llanrhystr, Wales, became my hub for going out and seeing other things. I made a little list here. What do we have here? I did see some castle ruins in Aberystwyth. I didn't get to see an actual castle. Everybody said go find a castle, just didn't have the time or energy. But I did see some ruins. It was still fantastic, even though there wasn't a full castle there. He took me on a tour of many of the smaller towns in that area. So you're seeing here some footage of Cardigan. We visited the village where they shot the Englishman who went up a hill but came down a mountain. Clanrider Imachnant. I don't have the spelling in front of me. Clanrider Imachnant. The Welsh are such fun people when it comes to trying to say things out loud. I want to make sure I cover the fitness aspect of the trip in keeping with this video series. Harry was kind enough to prearrange day passes to 2 different gyms in his area. And so the first one took place on Monday, August 22nd, a little place called Sion Evans Fitness. And I don't have a lot of footage of that one. All 3 of the workouts that I did while I was there were weak because even though the jet lag illness went away, I just never really felt strong and vibrant. And I think the jet lag was part of the problem. Some of it was the food. I'm not a foodie, so I wasn't eating much. In fact, I don't have the precise info with me, but I weighed before I went, and I weighed when I came home, and there was about a 5 or 6 pound drop in the 2 weeks I was gone to Britain. So maybe foreign travel would be good for my weight loss. But anyway, the second workout was with a guy named Liam Smith. Now, I met Liam on Discord. I joined, I'll keep the story short, I joined a fitness group called The Odyssey. And great bunch of guys, mostly younger, college age, so they're very enthusiastic. At first I wondered if it was okay that I was there, but they have adopted me as Uncle Brian. But one of them found out I was coming over, found out I'd be nearby, and we arranged to meet up. So I went with Liam to his gym. I do have significantly more footage there because I was feeling a little better at that time. Workout number 3, was back with Harry. He arranged for me to work out at a place called Yo-Yo's Gym and Strongman Center. Now, it's the kind of gym that we in America, at least, would call a hole in the wall. Now, before the uninitiated look at me and go, how insulting, there are a great many powerlifters, bodybuilders, the guys who are really into it, who love the old school gym feel, They love those gyms. They don't want the pretty boy gym. They don't want the nice new carpeting and the brand new rubberized weights. They want the plates. They want the clank. They want the paint peeling off the walls. They want the old equipment that they've used for decades. They know how it feels. It feels right in their arms and their hands. And of course, I only worked out there once, but Yo-Yo's struck me as that kind of place. Really, to that kind of lifter, a hole-in-the-wall gym is a compliment. It was a little tight, but he's got whoever was in charge, whoever owns it, packed in everything you could need. Again, I didn't work out nearly as intensely or as long as I normally would, because I was still, just every day that I was there was just kind of this weakness. I was happy to sit in the car and drive. Although driving on English roads is another, and Welsh roads, that's another story. So I don't really have a lot of commentary about the workouts themselves. They were minor, they were some muscle stimulation, but they were by no means my strongest and best effort. But it was better than 2 weeks of not doing a workout at all, of just missing out on those 2 weeks. So I am thankful to Harry and Liam for getting me into those respective gyms. The remainder of this episode will have absolutely nothing to do with health and fitness, but I really, really want to share it. On Saturday the 28th, the day before I flew back home, I finally got to go to London. The day before I had said goodbye to Harry, I headed back to the London area. I got a hotel in Hounslow, and I woke up on Saturday, and I got on the Underground at the East Hounslow, West Hounslow.
I am about to get on the London Underground system for the first time in my life. A very helpful attendant up top made it clear that it's a lot easier than I think. We'll find out for certain if that's true in just a few minutes.
I wanted to see Big Ben and a couple things that were right there, and there were a couple of stations that were really close, and I picked Piccadilly Circus just because I've heard that location name so many times. I hear it in The Great Race. I feel like I've heard Julie Andrews say it in some movie she's been in. So many people, see you in Piccadilly Circus. We're going to Piccadilly Circus, so you'll find that in Piccadilly Circus. So I thought, yeah, I got to do Piccadilly Circus. I had no idea I've never been there. I didn't even know what I would see, but I knew it was near Big Ben on the map. And a couple other things I wanted to see. So on the Underground, there was this list of all the stops from where I got on to where I wanted to get off, the whole map of what that rail line would cover. And just every time we stopped at another station, I looked and said, we're getting closer. And Piccadilly Circus just kept getting closer. And it's just, I had to work hard to not just start bawling with joy on an Underground so full of people. There was standing room only, and we were all like this, and I was just watching each station. and then Piccadilly Circus arrived, and I got off, and I was holding back tears. We went up the escalator. I thought, London's right above me. And you're so far underground at that point. You go up one escalator and another escalator. And it's up there somewhere. And then we got on the last one. I could see the sunlight. And the place where you step off, the ground level came down. It just came down, and I looked up. I just left the Underground at the Piccadilly Circus station and stepped into London for the first time ever. I don't think I can narrate much right now. Just gonna have to look around and tell you about it later. To just walk, to just see all of this stuff that I've been seeing in movies, reading about, and even if I didn't know what the building was, I passed a lot of buildings that were, they seemed to be government buildings, but I have no idea what they were. They were still just, the columns and the marble steps. It was just so beautiful. Specific locations. I wanted to stop by. I made kind of a triangle of it. I wanted to stop by 84 Charing Cross Road because I've seen the movie starring Anne Bancroft, and my wife and I both very much enjoy that movie, so I thought, well, I'll just see where it is. I knew it was no longer a bookstore. It was now a McDonald's, which I thought was a little sad, but they did maintain a plaque on the side of the building. And then I headed down toward the Thames to see Big Ben, and again, every block, around every curve, I was just holding back tears because every new building was just amazing. And then I saw the spire of Big Ben, the top, whatever the right word is. I rounded the corner and saw all of it, and it's part of a whole, just a whole town square type of thing. You've got Big Ben, and it's Westminster Cathedral and Parliament. It's all right there, and I had to, so there's more crying. I think I'm over it here at home finally. But and then I crossed the Thames just to say that I did. I had no reason. There was nothing over there I wanted to see, but I walked over the Thames, and then I turned around and walked back. I think I got a picture on the other side of Big Ben and Parliament, but then I walked back. And then that road took me straight up. Well, I went into St. James's Park, another place I've heard of. So more tears. It's like, didn't matter where I was. This is fantastic. And that took me to Buckingham Palace. I've seen Buckingham Palace in pictures and in the movies. It is another thing entirely to walk up to those gates. They are huge. The building is huge. I'm pretty confident the Queen saw me out the window and waved. And then I had dinner at a Five Guys Burger right there in the Piccadilly area. Got back on the Underground and I headed back home. It was a magical end. It was a magical end to a trip that fulfilled a lifelong dream. So thank you. He already knows, but I'll say it again. Thank you to Harry. Without you, it still would be just a dream. Without your helping, your financial help, I'd still be waiting for my first trip to Great Britain.